Will you bring me that remote so I can turn the TV down a little bit? So we're remote, I think it's fine.
Hey, everybody. Hello out there.
Hi.
Got a few people in chat, it looks like.
And my brother's
Me and
in
Bo
it.
hanging out on this rainy day with Ellie off camera talking. Let's see who we got in here.
You got Bo in here.
Hey, there's Layla. So, Layla, I think we got everything resolved on your assignment that was showing up as being finished, but you had not done it. I don't know what went on with everything, but it seems like you and Luke basically got credit for doing today's math work without actually doing anything. Hey, got some new folks in here. Got Kinsley, it looks like. That dude, I'm not sure who that dude is. Never mind. That dude is my son. He is in here as well. That's my Eli. Got Andy too. Hey, Andy. Good. I'm glad to see some people I haven't had a chance to check in with. One of the things you guys may have been looking at today is some of the answers that were shared on the math puzzle. I put a picture in the Google Hangout chat that would help you in figuring that out. There are a couple people that finally have some correct answers on that, though. So I'll gladly go through that with you if anybody wants me to understand where they got their numbers from. Got Bree in here, too. Hey, Bree. I loved seeing some of the memes you guys shared with Miss Nick. She actually let me take a look at some of that work that was turned in. I think there was a Google Doc. Of course, we laughed last time about some of the memes that you guys had made of me from the thumbnail. So I liked seeing all of those that you guys came up with. Those are super creative. So what's everybody up to on this rainy Tuesday afternoon as we wait for these storms to come through?
And we have a trampoline.
My daughter off camera said we put up a trampoline this weekend, and we did, but we haven't had a chance to really jump on it other than Sunday night.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. Oh, Bo was just relaxing here.
Sleeping and eating. Yeah, that's a dangerous combination right now.
Why? How is that a dangerous competition?
Painting.
Painting.
I like that. My Ellie loves to paint.
Yeah, I get kind of messy.
Yeah, she makes a mess with that.
Yeah,
Christian,
but
I'm sorry you're
making
bored,
art.
man. I know a lot of people that are bored. In fact, a few of the teachers that we chat together in a group message were saying that they are extremely bored being at home. We miss you guys. We miss coming to work.
And this is something of my art that I made.
Ellie's trying to take over my stream right now, so she thinks she wants to be a YouTube star.
Yeah, I am. I already am. You can check my videos. They're the greatest.
I get lost on Reddit as well. That's one of the places that I spend a lot of time, in addition to just reading all the crazy news stories that are surrounding what's going on with the coronavirus, which will take up a majority of your day if you start reading those as well.
Ow.
Well, at least you guys are finding stuff to do. You're all so creative anyways that I'm sure you will come up with new and more interesting things to do as this prolongs itself any further than we think it's going to, which I don't have an update for. We've not been privy to any new information other than what you guys know. I do know that a lot of schools in other states, are deciding to shut things down for the year, but nothing has been said to that effect here in Georgia. Hey, Luke and Giselle. Luke, I was telling Layla earlier, I think that we got you two squared away. I don't know what happened with today's work, but it seems like everything's good on my end as far as you getting your stuff turned in. Layla, if you asked me to make a prediction, that would pretty much be where I would be as well. I know that's not the news that some of you want to hear. It's not really the news that I want to hear, but I think that that's kind of where we're at. We are doing the precautionary measures at this point. So other than just, again, things that you guys might want to ask about as far as the assignments or whatever, like I said, I had posted a picture in the Hangout that was basically the clues needed to solve that math puzzle that was up today. Of course, I know some of you are in here to do the high school math, so you probably don't know what we're talking about, but there's a math puzzle on the Google Classroom math page that some of you have been looking at today. I will show you what that picture looks like, though, if you haven't had a chance to check the Hangout. And I'll go through it and explain it if you want me to. I added some numbers to the picture that was shared on Classroom. Don't know if you guys can pick up all of those. But what really needs to be factored in at the bottom is our guy in that last strand is wearing pretty much everything. And I don't know that everybody's done that yet because I saw a lot of answers that are in the 50-30 range. And if you haven't looked at the image close enough, he's got the sunglasses on, he's got the pair of shoes on, he's got 2 gloves on, which is something you need to factor in. And again, I did see some correct answers rolling in there the last time I checked. But if you'll use those numbers that are shared on this picture or the one on Hangouts, I think you'll figure everything out. Got to follow order of operations as well. Let's see. Kinsley's talking about the New York trip. Yeah, I mean, that's an unfortunate side effect of everything. I'm assuming you guys saw this afternoon the summer games for Tokyo have been postponed for a year as well. I really feel bad for all of those athletes that have been training basically their entire lives and they only get a couple of chances to compete because once you turn professional, you can't go back to the Olympics. So hopefully they get their chance to do that next year. Of course, high school seniors, same thing. I feel bad for where they're at. Those kids that are looking forward to going to prom in the spring. It's a weird situation we're in. All of you that were going on the New York trip and everything like that, I know that you'd been looking forward to it all year. And I hate that this has interrupted those plans, but hopefully you'll get a chance to do it again in the future. Yeah, it's gloomy outside. We're supposed to get some bad storms coming through, like actually some 40-mile-per-hour winds and things like that. A couple questions for you guys, and I'm going to share some of the things you wrote in the Google form because I think they're interesting talking points. I tried to add this week some extra, different types of assignments other than the CK12 stuff because I know you guys will get bored doing the same thing every day. So I put the writing assignment up on the math page. Also, I shared it on the science page as well, where you looked at some of the data that's out there about the coronavirus and cases here in Georgia, including the document that I shared with you, which is a spreadsheet that I created. Got some interesting feedback on that. So I think I'm probably going to do something similar to that next week as well. And then today, of course, I put the puzzle up on the math page, and I also shared the video, which was an extra extension to the science work. Do you guys want me to continue to look for new and different things to add each day that are not really extra work for you? Because CK12 lessons typically are like, 15 minutes each. That's kind of what we were asked to do. Yeah, I mean, I like the format of the CK12 lessons too, and I know that they're not overboard in terms of the amount of work. Spring break, you will not have any assignments, so you don't have to worry about that. It still counts as spring break, even though it's kind of just rolled into this extended absence. So you will not have any work next week. from any of us. But I just want to make sure that adding those extra things is not overdoing it. Something like one writing assignment, one Google form a week, and then maybe some puzzles mixed in with some extra videos to support what the CK12 lessons are all about. I don't know if there's any sarcasm on that, Andy. You're used to doing virtual learning, though, so you may be comparing it to that, and it may be a little bit better. It's very similar, in my opinion. Also, something I wanted to ask you guys about is a lot of the other school systems are using some of the other video teleconferencing platforms. Zoom is really popular right now. You probably see it on the news. A lot of the television shows that are shot with live audiences are actually using Zoom. I could look at setting us up something to do that. It would mean everybody would have a camera. They would be on the screen together. I do have some concerns about using it because I don't think everybody fully understands what being on camera means in terms of keeping other people from walking through the shot behind you or doing something on camera that you really shouldn't be doing. But if it's something you guys are interested in, I would be glad to set it up. Well, good. Both Andy and Bree, I want it to be easy. I don't want it to be something that's challenging for you. I just want it to be something that gives you some daily practice and keeps the things that we've covered throughout the year kind of fresh on your memory. Again, we're in this weird waiting pattern to see what happens, but at least that way you have something each day to kind of get you thinking about academics while you sleep and eat. Okay, well, most people are seemingly in support of what we're doing, so I'm going to not change up things too much because I feel like you guys have found a really good rhythm. Work's getting turned in at a very, good rate throughout the day. Some of you actually have your stuff turned in before 10 o'clock every morning, which is amazing to me, but either way, that's good. Oh, well, I have no control over that, Kinsley. I can't really change what they yeah, that's fair, Andy. You can say that in here. I can't make them change that. I really didn't know what was going to happen with the online math. I mean, I would assume at this point that they have also followed suit with saying that there won't be an EOC test, but I don't know what else the plan is there. Basically, your grade in class will be what earns you the credit for high school. So doing your work for them is obviously that much more important. Well, while you guys are kind of thinking about stuff that you might want to ask me about, I'm going to read through some of the Google form submissions that went with the assignment about the coronavirus statistics. Just want to share with you some of the things that were said and some of the things that I thought maybe were interesting. I won't attach names. That way nobody will get embarrassed. So one of the ones said that it was interesting to look at the death rate that was being reported. If you used my Google sheet that I attached, that was just for Georgia, but it's hovering around 3%. Which is still a very low number. I mean, 3% doesn't sound like it's that big, but when you start to expand that out to a much bigger population, it really does start to take on a whole different meaning. 3% of 100 is 3 people. 3% of 1,000 is all of a sudden a much greater number. 3% of 1,000,000, that much greater, so on and so on. So I think looking at it from a much broader lens is important here. And we're seeing kind of the same thing globally. If you look at the global mortality rate, it's right around that number as well. Of course, what you may have noticed on the news is that a lot of the initial thoughts that this was only going to impact older people have kind of went out the window. There's young people that are laying on hospital beds on ventilators now. So It impacts everybody. Let's see, one of the other interesting statistics. Some of you were noticing that the trend lines that I had put on my Google Sheet, this has been shared on a couple of the forums that I'm reading, that we had started to fall underneath those projections. So if you checked in that document today, I actually added a new trend line that was a lower projected number. It was like 1.4 was used as the number in the exponential equation. That number, though, is still alarming because it means that for every one person that's infected, if they encounter 10 people, that 4 of those 10 people would also then be infected. So basically half of everybody that they encountered. So don't let that fool you into thinking that, you know, things are all of a sudden super safe, because that's still a very, very high number in that equation. But I did add that today. Let's see, looking for something that's a little different as far as, a couple of people had shared on there that they were looking at some statistics that they had found elsewhere about the number of recoveries. And I think that's really important. You need to start looking at all the numbers, not just the ones that make us sad and are scary to see, but also some of the positives. There are people that are getting better from this. Even the story of the local couple, the Abernathys, which some of you might know, that husband and wife combination, the husband is actually doing quite well now, and his wife, who was on a ventilator, has come off. So if you can get the proper care and a hospital bed and a ventilator and all these things that are being talked about on the news, you can recover. So yeah, I think looking at the recovery number is important. And there were some other interesting things that you guys had picked up on, and I've been reading through those, but a lot of people, I think, are waiting to finish that up because it was a weekly assignment. So I'll share out some of those things kind of later in the week. Anything you guys would need me to ask Miss Nix about? I know she's been making contact with some of you and your parents in some different ways. She had actually expressed an interest in doing something like this, a stream, but I don't know if she's ever quite landed on the way she wants to do that. But any questions you have, I can get answers for you from her. Okay, so while we're just kind of hanging out here, let me ask you guys some things then. So in your newfound free time that you have any of you tried to follow up on some of these things that have been posted on our social media site and doing, like, for example, I think was today the What Are You Reading Day. So we were supposed to share a book that we're reading. I know some of you had said that you were reading like Lord of the Flies last time. Is there any interesting books that are being read by the group that we should share out? Let's see. Layla says, something about a guy that had contracted the virus and his kid going to daycare. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of stories out there, Layla, similar to what you're sharing right here. I mean, lots of people have contracted it through means that are, I mean, less than ideal. That's the way I would describe it. And then there are people that are choosing to disobey the advice that's being given about social distancing and other things. I don't know if it's fair to call those people, you know, names or whatever, but people are dealing with this in very different ways. I don't know that everything I've done so far is correct. I do know that we've stayed at home like we were asked to. The kids are getting stir crazy. They're ready to go outside. They want to go on bike rides. They want to go play on the playground. And we've really not allowed them to do a lot of that stuff. They've basically stayed in the yard. We went on a couple of walks in the afternoon when we felt like there wouldn't be people out. Oh, that's a great book, Layla. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Always bring your towel. Number one piece of advice. More and more of the companies that do digital ebooks also are doing some free offers. So if you'll keep kind of paying attention to stuff that you see posted online or social media, you can get some free trials that are extended, for several months right now while they're trying to help everybody out that's stuck at home. So I know a lot of you had asked last time about how you could get your hands on books. Just pay attention, and there's lots of offers out there for free stuff that you can access. All right, so another question for you guys. I know some of you said you're bored and you're tired of being at home, and that's totally reasonable, and I'm right there with you. What's the one thing that you miss most about being at school that you didn't think you would miss? The order of the day, having a schedule. For my son, he's in the same boat, Luke. He needs that order. Andy says proof of human life, real conversations. Yeah, we need that. I mean, I would hope somebody's at home with you that you can talk to as well. Yeah, what's interesting, both Andy and Kinsley's comment, you guys are the most connected generation of kids I've ever been around. I mean, you have all these different ways that you can communicate with each other and, talk digitally and, play games together. But that actual face-to-face contact, you take it for granted. It's something that when it's not there, you miss it. Well, what's weird is, I mean, you guys are saying a lot of the things that I would expect you to, but for me, some of the things that I've actually missed that I didn't think I would miss, I miss some of those aggravations that I took for granted, things that I had to do that used to seem like they were chores, just going out and doing car duty at the end of the day and helping people get in their cars and things like that. It's tied into that schedule aspect that Luke said, not having a good schedule to be on, which I've tried to wake up at my normal time every morning to both get assignments posted for you guys and also just to have some kind of normalcy to the day. But you can create a schedule at home that you follow that will give you something similar to a school day. I don't think you should, necessarily structure every minute until 3:00 every afternoon, but set up something that resembles kind of, I'm going to study and work on assignments for 2 hours, then I'm going to exercise for 30 minutes, then I'm going to eat lunch, whatever. Kinsley says she's FaceTiming with Andy right now. So there you go. That's the closest thing to human contact that we can get right now is digital contact. Yeah, I'm an introvert as well, Layla. So, I mean, I actually, prior to this, would have said I like my alone time. I like being alone. I don't like necessarily going out in groups and doing things, but I miss it. I mean, I really do. I miss seeing you guys every day in class. I miss talking with my coworkers on the hallway. Just those everyday interactions that we take for granted. I have been able to recreate a home gym in my garage so that I at least can still exercise. If I was not able to do that, I truly would be going crazy, I think. Yeah, Bree's talking about Atlanta being one of the hot spots, and it is the biggest hot spot in the country right now for new activity and existing cases, of course, New York City and the surrounding areas. But outside of that, Atlanta is one of the ones higher up on the list. And then one that I saw added today, which makes total sense, is the New Orleans area. And if you backtrack it to when Mardi Gras would have taken place, people were there in close contact, and now they're showing up with more cases as a result. So that's one of the new hot spots, but Atlanta is for sure high on the list. Hey, Dawson. Dawson, I think you actually have the same shirt I have on right now. I think you've worn it at school. There we go. That's what I thought. Got to support our dogs. Maybe someday we'll get to watch them play football again. Hopefully. Excited that Gurley came back to the Falcons as a Georgia fan. All right, so another question to you guys. I know a lot of you are big-time video gamers, and I'm slowly falling back into my gaming past as far as being a gamer when I was younger. What are some of the games out there that I should look about playing either on my phone or on Xbox? Oh, Daniel was watching too, Andy? Tell him I said hey. I've heard of Terraria. It's like a side scroller game, right, Luke? Kind of old school 8-bit graphics. Call of Duty. I used to be a Call of Duty guy. I've not played any of the new Call of Duty games. I'd have to get back up on my first-person shooter skills. Red Dead. I played the original Red Dead Redemption, Dawson. I've not played any of the second one. Andy just retracted a message from chat. I didn't know you could do that. Well, my son got me to download several games on the phone that he then challenged me at, and I beat him at all of them because he forgot his daddy's got skills. Yeah, I don't have a Switch, Layla. We actually looked about getting a Switch for the kids. I wish we had now because that'd be something else that they could do with their free time. But I've heard of Animal Crossing. I don't know what SSBU stands for. I'm not up on that acronym. It's amazing how things like video games had kind of been phased out of my life, but now that I have extra free time, it's something that has slowly crept back in. Kinsley, that's probably better use time. I mean, I wish I could play the piano or any instrument for that matter, but I am not so musically talented as yourself. Oh, Smash Brothers for sure. I know how to play that. I guess that's the updated, like, new edition that's out. I'll have to check out some of these suggestions. A few of them I've heard of that you guys named, but a lot of this stuff is new to me. So like I say, my son made the mistake of challenging his dad to the games, and he's learning that I just had to rediscover those old skills again. Well, I had only planned today on doing about 30 minutes. I think for the purposes of just kind of making contact every week with you guys and checking in, I think 30 minutes is probably enough moving forward. I still want this time to be there for you just so you can know that we're still here and kind of chat with us and check in. But 30 minutes, I think, gives us enough time if you guys have any questions about academic stuff that I can answer it. But like we've done today, really, this is just a time to chat. I want to encourage you to use that Hangout chat that we set up. That's me and Miss Nix together. All of you were invited to it. The link is still on my assignments for Monday. So if you need to ask us anything and we're not replying to you on Classroom, just post something in that Hangout and we'll get back to you real quick. I don't know what permissions you have. I know Layla told me that she tried to post a picture in there and it would not let her, but you should be able to chat with us If not, let me know, because they were supposed to unlock that so that we could use it with you guys. And if the Zoom chat is something that you're interested in, I'll look about setting that up. But again, everybody would be on camera at the same time, and I don't know if everybody wants that. So for right now, we'll stick with this plan of doing kind of the twice a week stream on YouTube, but we might look at adding some other options, especially if this goes on longer than we expect. But I always like checking in with you guys. Like I say, I only planned on doing about 30 minutes today, so I'm going to go ahead and say my goodbyes for Tuesday and check in with you again on Thursday at the same time around 1 o'clock. So any questions you've got between now and then, shoot them to me on Classroom or in an email, and enjoy all this free time that we now have. I'll see you on Thursday.